Since I man heard the news, the mayor of Washington in prison, I was so shocked, I was so confused. How could this happen to such a person? A man so well respected, so many people trusted. Oh, what a shame. Look how we destroy such a good name. But I'm sure you will agree, they got a lot of Mayor Barry. Right at home and abroad, we better examine the yard. My friends, if mayors and leaders, no integrity guarantee, who gon' get the yard is a serious question. If the mouse rampaging and the cat playing with him, who gon' get the cat when all morals break down? You put a cat to watch and protect your possessions, but if the same cat thieving from you, partner, that ain't no fun. So I want to know who gon' get the cat? Please tell me who gon' get the cat? It's me and you, brother.
Fell along.
Really mad, baby. Say he come fucking. Oh God. Long time when you heard about God, you know to trust us it would be real hard. Nowadays, here in this island, thieves and God hugging up in the same band. They're ripping off the treasury and poor sugar workers' money. Things getting hard. To get one guard, you need 10 guard. They say the biggest guard in this country, afraid of his deputy. So it's not surprising, everybody doing their own thing. My friends, if leaders and preachers show no example to follow, who gon' guard the God is a serious question. If shepherds gone astray, then the wolves will have this way. Who gon' guard the God when all morals break down? Listen. This is a message to all leaders here in this island. About our principles, you better be the damn guardian. I want to know who gon' guard the God. Please tell me who gon' guard the God. Good Lord.
Get along.
Oh boy. Follow up. Right here in Sugar City, We expect the gods to protect we. The government, police and clergy. We expect complete integrity. For our children are watching, and from us they are learning all the abuse and double standards that we use. Like when we condemn the drug trade, but to take action we afraid. We jail in the small fry, leaving the kingpin high and dry. My friends, ethnic men, pushing crack, and we pray to lock them up. Who gon' guard the guard is a serious question, yes. If ministers on the run from PA in Washington, who gon' guard the guard when all morals break down? Listen, they're checking to hang you if they find you smoking a Smith, huh? But it comes plain packed with cocaine. They know what thing about it. So I want to know who gon' guard the guard? Please tell me who gon' guard the guard? I want to hear it, man. Let me hear it. Who gon' guard the guard? Tell me, man. Who gon' guard the guard? I want to know. Good night.
Yes, my good people, that's the man Contender. And that one is called Who's Gonna Guard the God? I'm DJ Mauricio, and I'm coming to you live and direct from my bunker here in the Republic of St. Paul, St. Kitts. It's a rainy Thursday afternoon here, pre-independence, September 18th, 2025. And you're getting a special feature this evening because of some development that took place over the last couple of days. I did some reporting last evening about a situation there at the JNF, the Joseph N. France Hospital here in St. Kitts. And apparently after I signed off last night, I see there was a press release, which I call it a lie release, from what turned out to be the government of St. Christopher and Nevis. So I decided, who's going to guard the God who's going to hold the foot to the fire? So we're going to come back this evening and have my guest here this evening online with me, the man, Dr. Garfield Alexander. We're going to have a little quick chit chat. But before we do that, let me drop an ad for those of you who might be just scrolling the web and bump into us and wondering what this podcast is all about. Let's take a listen.
Wednesday evenings are heating up. Log on to DJ Mauricio's Facebook Live broadcast every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a frank and candid exploration into the social, cultural, political, and economic issues affecting our federation. And just in case you missed it, you can also catch the broadcast on his YouTube channel, DJ Mauricio. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and smash that bell. You will be notified whenever he goes live. DJ Mauricio, every Wednesday evening, Facebook 6 to 8 p.m. or thereafter on his YouTube channel, DJ Mauricio. Log on.
Yes, you heard it right. DJ Mauricio is here each and every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. This evening, we are giving you a one-off for the simple reason that we are just following up on this press release that we received on last evening. And just before we go into the conversation, let me drop a little clip here of our march that will be taking place next Friday, the 26th of September, 2025, down there at the bus and ferry terminal. Let's take a quick listen.
Let's unite and stand up for right.
It's the Citizens Empowerment Coalition Awareness March on Friday, 26 September. Citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis, it's your time. Boots on the streets are required. Let's save our country. Get your placards ready. Gathering at the West Bus and Ferry Terminal on the Bay Road from 2:30 with the march starting from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. For more information, call 660-0195. So, get ready to hit the streets on Friday, 26 September from 2:30 at the West Bus and Ferry Terminal and be a part of the Citizens Empowerment Coalition Awareness March.
Yes, my good citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, resident alike, get ready for that march next Friday. That's Friday, the 26th September 2025. Come on out and support your fight for a better St. Kitts Nevis. That is what we voted for. Now, my good people, before I open the mic and drop with Brother Alexander, let me drop a little clip here by the man himself, our icon, his prediction of the DJ.
DJ Marisha, I don't want you guys to take your eyes off him. Remember, he's been around for some time. Let's go back to COVID and lockdowns. The gentleman came in, was locked down in quarantine, and then realized the total hypocrisy, tyranny, and oppression of the then administration during our most horriblest time. Spoke out. Not only spoke out, became an activist. And then you know what he did? Organize and centralize. And he never stopped organizing and centralizing until Timothy was gone. I don't even want to talk about the involvement he had before and the Douglas administration and the Harris. We ain't gonna talk about that. I'm just talking that during COVID, that man, both on this front, locally, and in the US, waged war against tyranny and oppression. One simple man, a DJ as he calls himself. He never called himself an engineer or anything else, just a DJ, because he understands the power of voice, and not just voice, autonomous, independent, honest, transparent voice always wins in the end. So it could be persons with unlimited power and unlimited money. He somehow always becomes the David against the Goliaths. Be careful with him. Be kind to him. Watch him. Because trust me, he's going to triumph in the end. Again.
Yeah, but Alexander, tap your screen there, open your mic.
Good night, good night, good night.
Good night, sir. Welcome, welcome. Good seeing you and good to have you back. I know you've been here a couple of times, but as you're aware, this podcast see the lights of new viewers every time we call live. So can you just give a quick synopsis of who is Dr. Alexander?
Dr. Garfield Alexander, son of the soil. I think even more than before, definitely have to say, son of Cromwell Mac Paris. I think he was a wicketkeeper batsman for Nevis. So I'm not third generation. I'm not a generation seeking land in Nevis. My father is Nevisian. So I don't want to claim to be a Federalist. I was born a Federalist. My mother's petition. And my father is very much Nevisian, like I said, from Craddock Road. So I feel and know everything in Nevis that's going on at the moment. So I'm very much a son of the soil of both islands, a Federalist. Full stop.
Okay, but Alexander, there's a lot that is taking place in our beloved Federation. And last evening during my regular podcast, I just was a hit and go because I was so frustrated and upset with some of the things I was hearing taking place at our main hospital there, the Joseph N. France General Hospital. And if things was not bad enough with the things I was hearing, I was awakened to a press release last evening. I call it a live release because I've been at the JNF. I understand how they function there and how they try to spin things. But I grew up hearing my grandparents saying the cover up is worse than the crime. And this document, this press release, have you got eyes on it? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I did see it. I started reading it, and the tone and just the fact that it spoke to what I would like to say the D, E, and F of the alphabet without leaving you to assume the A, B, C, and D. And I don't think it was the most professional of letters, especially given the context and the seriousness of the situation. Yeah, it's very cold and disconnected.
I think these folks are taking people for granted and people life for granted. As long as it's not affecting them directly, basically we are just a fly or a roach or something on the wall. Because when I heard the rumors about there is no reagents at the facility for folks to do their dialysis, and folks had missed 2 sessions. I'm pretty sure you're aware that most dialysis patients who have renal issues is 3 sessions per week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for most people, unless they alternate them on different days. So when I heard the news, I was at a loss. And I don't want to say that is a result of not having these supplies in stock might have caused the death of a young lady. But after my program last night and the calls that I'm getting and today doing some investigations, someone said to me, Marisha, you did not see this lady on social media where Sean and them was hugging up and everything that died? It was reported that his renal failure she died from. And they're not sure, but it has been several days now that they have been trying to get these stuff into the country. I understand Amerijet refused to fly it in or whatever, so they had to eventually reach out to the RSS to bring in the acid and stuff. And even today, while I was in town, another individual approached me and saying that, what you all doing to the country, what you all doing to people? My family member could not get dialysis yesterday because there's no reagents for them to do their treatment. Now, partner, as I read this letter, and I'm going to read it into the program just for the benefit of the people that might think that this is a joke, because this thing is serious. There's a letter that came out, Government of St. Christopher Nevis, Ministry of Health, Lot 6B, Bladen's Commercial Development, Wellington Road, P.O. Box 186, Bassett, St. Kitts, blase blase. Press release, September 17, 2025. Dialysis services resume. Now, this is on the 17th of December, which was yesterday. And this press release is stating dialysis service resume. After we've been hearing about people who was not able to be treated for several days, there is no explanation as of when this treatment was not available, what happened. But as I read through the letter, you're going to see the spin. And these folks are not any good spin bowlers. And the signature of the individual and this document, I reached out to him this morning. He did not answer his phone, because I like to give people a heads up when I'm going to come public. And I guess they figure if they don't answer the phone or they don't return my call, that's the end of it. But no, I'm going to still come to the people. So the ball is in their court. Now, this letter reads, the management of the JNF France, quote unquote, JNF, General Hospital, wishes to inform the general public, and especially our dialysis patients and their families that dialysis services resume this evening, Wednesday, 17 September 2025. Again, resume. When did it stop? No explanation on that. The letter went on to say, to accommodate any backlog of patients, service hours have been extended to ensure that all individuals receive their scheduled treatments without further delay. Next paragraph, the brief closure of the dialysis unit was necessary to facilitate essential housekeeping matters aimed at improving the quality and reliability of the service. We sincerely regret any inconvenience caused during this short interruption and greatly appreciate the patience and understanding of all concerned parties. Now, that particular paragraph is a serious indictment on the management team at the JNF. That particular paragraph, and I'm going to read it again, because you know people have to get their treatments 3 sessions a week. Stop lying to the people. You know you was out of reagents, the acid that you used to perform that treatment. You know is a result of you all being political, victimization. The gentleman, Brother Floyd Buchanan, who was the manager of stores at the JNF, for political reasons, some 6 weeks ago, I understand, was transferred to the Paxton Hospital while they have a new person up there who really, I don't think, understand the matters of the stores, because up there is basically working blind. We have a health minister, the prime minister, who really don't have an understanding. I would not say he don't care. He does not have an understanding of what's taking place at the JNF. He's like putting the rat to guard the cheese. The people that he depends on to give him updates and information is the people that are misleading him, and I told him this before. Now look at what we come to. Citizens may have lost their lives already because of this. And whether or not treatment has resumed, what is the condition of those people that miss those sessions that they should have had? What are the effects on their bodies at this stage of the game? This is a serious matter, and head must roll. If the Prime Minister don't take steps and call for the heads of those people up there that manage and run that institution, then we need to call for his head. Somebody must pay for this mishap. The letter went on to say, the Ministry of Health and the JNF General Hospital fully committed to ensuring high quality medical care for all citizens and residents of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Well, the Federation. And he's saying Dr. Jensen Morton, Director of Health Institutions. Partner, that's your letter. Your thoughts?
You said you want me to come in now?
Yeah.
I want to come in slow, very slowly, because I want to calm the women, because this is a topic very dear to my heart, and at the same time, lives are at stake. So this is a national issue. So I'm going to start slow, because I don't think anything that occurred in the last 24 hours, because I just happened to see your broadcast last night, and again I'm off island. I'm in my bunker. Really wanted to say that for a while, and I was taken aback from what you said. I didn't sleep well, so I find it very interesting that the song that you introed with was Contender. I don't know if you're being willfully skillful, but he is one of the Calypsonians, and as a young man, because I still consider myself a young man, I would have to say I've been I've had the esteemed honor of being a judge on national competition, trained judge by Mr. Ahmad and did other workshops as well. So steeped in Calypso. So I grew up around Calypso, really appreciated it, and I was able to then be a part of that fraternity. So Contender is a brilliant man that I'm always amazed at, just looking at his ability to stay out of the fair but be in the fray. So when you put that song, and even though I'm such a fan of his, I still needed to be reminded of the lyrics in that song and how hard hitting they were and how realistic. There's nothing there that is metaphorical. He was hitting some hard hitting truths right there. And I'm highlighting that because all we have is a vicious cycle of repetition. Because everything he's talking about there in that song, all his lyrics, still are hard hitting today. We still have issues of cannabis and people going after the man with this place and people who pushing coke. They're not even getting a step on the wrist. Issues with the deputy and the prime minister, like everything he speaks of then. What year was that, Mr. Marshall? Remember the year?
I think so back in the 80s, you know.
Right. So yeah. They talk about the Simmons there. So they've been talking about Simmons and Powell.
Correct.
You mentioned the word shepherd and how we as people, and although we don't like that comparison of sheep, we're always looking for a savior or a shepherd or somebody to lead us along the way. And that is the hallmark of our problems, petitions, and divisions. So I just wanted to go through that here. But I'm going to mention something that was controversial then and still going to be controversial now. And it's something that Malcolm X said. And I know Dr. Drew is a big fan of Malcolm X, or at least was. I am still. And this got him evicted, thrown out of the Nation of Islam when he said the chickens are come home to. What we see here are just clinical signs of a disease that we were infected with quite a while ago, as far back as 1980, where we've accepted, we thought so little of ourselves that we accepted the kind of leadership that we have today. It's been declining. It's been steadily declining. And again, unlike in the 80s or from 80 to 95, we have social media where these guys, all the lies they've told are right there. Evidence for anybody to see. The way they contradict themselves. So who aren't seeing or who are blind and are going to reap the repercussions of what's going on now. If anybody reading that letter would understand that level, that issue, because it's ongoing, that we have now in terms of kidney failure and dialysis, that goes back to the chronic disease of diabetes and hypertension, which are the high risk factors for those two diseases, which can quietly lead you to dialysis. Because for you to be dialyzed, you have lost the functions of two kidneys. Those kidneys, every breath you take, every pump of your heart, cleanse your body. So when people talking about intoxicants and detoxicants and your kidneys, once healthy, are creating a miracle every company has. So from somebody, and I remember having this debate with my philosophy teacher about who is really at fault when somebody arrives at dialysis. I remember having that philosophical debate of, is it the patient's fault? Is it the doctor's fault? Is it whose fault that somebody would allow themselves to arrive at that state? And again, that was an ongoing debate. It will never arrive at a point where everybody has an answer or everybody agrees. But what we can say is that we need those social safety nets. We need what we call a government administration to ensure and make sure that certain health deliverables are here. And if it's one thing the internet can tell you, even if you don't want to believe that Akbar Alexander said so, is that every leader, well, since I've been back, and has promised us coverage of dialysis. Matt Brantley has spoken about it, Dr. Harris, Dr. Douglas, and even Dr. Drew have promised to ensure you coverage in certain areas. Dialysis was one of them, because everybody was proud of the dialysis unit. This dialysis unit does not serve St. Kitts alone, Nevis and Grilla and certain other regions around, where either it is not available or it's more affordable here in St. Kitts. And like I said, 3 times per day. I'm not pretty au fait with the dialysis unit, and because I didn't have much patience like that. Because like I said, I tried to ensure that my patients didn't arrive at that point. But again, certain things are unavoidable. But I do remember one point having to contact the dialysis unit, and it was one of the most premier experiences I've ever had in my medical career. A patient was coming from England, and we had no issue. There was perfect alignment from England, which is universal health care, and that person could come here for the whole duration of their stay, could be dialyzed 3 times per week without an issue of interruption, paid in full, everything, just as in England. So that I know my dialysis, because that's what I refer to it as, my dialysis unit was premier. One thing stood out to me from last night's broadcast, that if I had an exam on it and I could only repeat one thing, was when you mentioned Mr. Floyd. Because I remember him as a trainee. I don't know if he's older than me. I don't remember if he, I think he may have went off to study after me, but he was one of those guys that came up in the pharmacy industry, but the pharmacy career as a trainee. I went on to be a trained pharmacist. I think he did that very late. One of the humblest and sweetest guys you know, committed to his work. And political victimization is a slur that we sling around here. I think it's a lot. And I never could identify with it truly. You know, I'd seen examples of it, but until it really occurred to me in a very deep and genuine way, that is when I identify with it. And it's almost like, it's like a disease to me now. I could just see clinically. I could even see the red flags of it even before it occurs. And I remember one experience I had as the CEO of medical cannabis. And I was in a high-level meeting, a meeting of PSs and ministers. And but I think it still is. The Medical Cannabis Authority is still housing an office building owned by Mr. King. And somebody in that meeting said, we have to move it from there. He's a pan. And you know, I heard of it, seen it, but seeing it on that level, being uttered by somebody who I think is absolutely brilliant and a very nice person, floored me. I wasn't saying, yeah, I feel after that. I just wasn't. So when Mr. Marsh said that, what was happening with Mr. Buchanan, and I can't vouch for that. It's almost like I relived that trauma again. And again, if that was happening to Mr. Buchanan, and we are not up in arms, and nobody puts boots on the ground, why are we crying now? The chickens have come home to roost. Like I said, Malcolm X stated that it was painful because it was so honest and brutal, people couldn't take it. The nation of England, his mentor told him, no, you can't say that. And he said, you taught me to speak the truth. So why can I speak the truth? Yeah, but the truth is an offense in St. Kitts right now. You see every high-level official dancing around it, and not just in St. Kitts. I just happened to be on TikTok and see they're investigating the FBI director. I didn't go deep into the story, but just to have the FBI director being cross-examined on a Senate committee, to me, is big. And they spoke of Jeffrey Epstein, and they went back to videos of him going in hard. It might have been on a podcast talking about why the director hasn't released all the information and all the evidence that been cleared to be released. Multiple videos of him calling out the director. Now he's the director. And what? What are you doing? What is the difference you're making? And that's my question for my colleagues in these high-level positions. What is the difference you're making? Where do you plan to go after you leave where you are now? I don't understand how people could be this indifferent. So that letter is on the level of the Minister of Health, Dr. Drew, on his level. And I can tell you how serious it is that if we don't stand up, because I'm at fault, and I have to live with it, and that's why I'm being who I am now, because I was passionate about putting him in this position. But I've been doing a deep dive and a deep investigation into myself and into him, and I've gone back and spoken to all my colleagues, and it seemed like I was the only one unaware, and I could chronologically go back and realize why. I left during our rotations when we were back. We did a rotation to familiarize and strengthen our clinical skills. So we were going from department to department. And I can tell you something, Miss Condor, Miss Dr. Wilkerson, they had one of the most charged meetings when we arrived. And again, I see that trauma being repeated every day, where you come home so passionate and ready to work for your country and lift your country. And your elders give you a harder attack than you ever had in any school, in UWI, Cuba, wherever you go. Yeah, but I was up for it. And the first person I rotated with was Cameron Wilkerson. And I don't even have to explain it to you all. If Cameron Wilkerson had found any issues in my clinical skills or my medical skills, I wouldn't be here today with a DR in front of me. Within 2 weeks, I was writing prescriptions, and he declared we could not write a prescription, because I made myself an asset on the surgical ward, which was my first rotation. So we rotated, and then my daughter soon after was born, and I had to fly to New York. Well, I had to, but I went to fly to New York, and again, everybody feared Cameron at that time, and I went to him and told him, I'm leaving whether you pay me or not, because I have to see my daughter born. Yeah, as a father, I have to see my daughter born. I didn't even get to, but I got to New York, and I missed out on part of my rotation through A&E, which is the emergency room, and my rotation through the psychiatric ward. And I ain't gonna call the names, but go and ask the doctors that graduated with us, what was their problem with Dr. Terence Drew? Yeah, what was the problem that I was a witness to? And again, I'm gonna ask you to go and ask Dr. I won't call the name. The doctors that were in the party with him. Ask them why they didn't support him as the leader, as the common leader. Ask them why. So you would see the vicious cycle that's being repeated now. You would see it. I didn't see it because maybe I refused to see certain instances I wasn't there. But when I go back and talk to everybody, this is not a surprise. What is happening now is not a surprise. It's only surprising me. That's why I was the one gung-ho, going full force for him. Yeah. And the same vicious cycles that are repeating, you're seeing the same persons around him now. I won't call the names as well. But again, I could write a book, but the chickens have come home to roost. We can no longer stand by and see our people and victimize our friends and families, victimizing the people stand up, you're calling them crazy or lazy, and think that the repercussions won't come full circle, 360 degrees. So at what point do we hold these people responsible for their fiduciary duties and responsibilities? At what point? When there's only ashes? Because I know, me ain't gonna wait for it to happen for somebody for me. That's what I'm speaking up now. For the downtrodden, for the persons who are not even known to me, who don't even like me. Because at some point, it's going to touch somebody for me. At some point. And I've been a patient at JNF, and I was superbly treated because I'm a doctor, because I'm the person I am, and because I had network. But that doesn't apply to everyone. And I suffered any form of kidney disease, I'd have been suffering today. So I must feel it before it hits home, because I won't wait for the chickens to come home to roost. Go ahead, Mr. Marshall.
Brother Alexander, if I did not witness the operations of the dialysis unit myself, with the staffing there and how much effort the nurses and everybody put in, even the young lady that got killed some months back. But apart from the individuals that work in that unit, you know who is the backbone of that unit? Other than the nurses and technicians that work in that unit? If that, that biomedical team, there's a couple of guys. I don't want to call the name because I do not know if they will get into trouble by management when they're going to work on Monday. But that biomedical team that maintains and service that unit, they're A1s, polite, very experienced. So during my time there, there's a rotation of preventative maintenance that is done on that unit regularly, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly. And that unit never had to be shut down where individuals have to be missing their treatment. So this bullshit letter I am getting there from the DHI, it really hurts.
I forgot that part because I started off saying that should have been a letter written by the Minister of Health, and if not the Minister of Health, the PS of Health. Because if he writes every day multiple posts per day, this is where he was supposed to take charge. Well, to prevent it from happening, but even if this happened, he was the one who was supposed to be the public face in front of this before it happened, and letting people know this is how it will be resolved, because people have to prepare for this level of entourage. So it's very metaphorical of is that this is very telling. The same how this couldn't be managed, the same how our country is on dialysis.
I think our country is in a worship and dialysis, partner. We're not even in the ICU. We are further off than that. And a coma.
No, I can't be that melodramatic.
Partner, let me tell you something. In the last 3 years, where the country was, where this country was in the last 3 years, right? There's so many things to discuss. That when I come here on a Wednesday evening, I cannot even give the full attention to the individual topics. Otherwise, we will never get into nothing else. Let me bring you back to this one. Just jump back for a bit, because I want to, I know you might be traveling and you might forget about this one. So let's take a listen to this one. This was a campaign issue that we campaigned on back in 22.
Further, on August 18, 2023, St. Kitts and Nevis CBI officials, led by Attorney General, met with UK Home Office about our new CBI regulations and practices. On October 26, 2023, our same team of officials met with US Treasury Department in Florida, along with officials from Caribbean CBI states, to discuss progress on US Caribbean Roundtable 6 agreed principles, Madam Speaker. On January 25, 2024, the team met with EU visa officials in Dominica to update them on new regulations and current practices. Madam Speaker, we have maintained constant dialogue and engagement with our international partners. However, we knew that the PRISM project had contributed to over 20,000 new citizenships being granted in a short period of time, Madam Speaker. This is the travesty. The travesty in all of this, Madam Speaker. 20,000, Madam Speaker, citizenships, over 20,000 to 25,000 new citizenships being granted in a short period of time. Madam Speaker, let's pause for a moment on that. How can anyone grant 25,000 citizenships for a prison? 25,000 based on the new census, and the Minister of Sustainability is here, Senator Honorable Dr. Joya Clark, that we are about 53,000 residents here in St. Kitts and Nevis, both citizens and residents. 53,000, Madam Speaker. And for a prison, you give up to 25,000 new citizenships. Madam Speaker, this is a travesty. It is borderline treason. On a prison project, you have granted citizenships to up to 25,000 citizens, half of your population. Madam Speaker, if any percentage of those persons were to come here, what will happen to St. Kitts and Nevis? But nobody was thinking about St. Kitts and Nevis. People were thinking about themselves, Madam Speaker. Putting self above nation. This is a travesty. And I want history to record that I inform the people of this. Our children must know this. Our grandchildren must also know this. This cannot be hidden from the people. This is a travesty, Madam Speaker. Any leader who grants 25, 50% of your population in citizenship by investment over prison, any leader who does that, Madam Speaker, should never be able to face the people again. Madam Speaker, this hurts badly, you know. Each time I watch the number, I call the AG. AG, is this real? Is this number real? 25,000? Over a prison project? In such a short period of time, committing the country to this? Committing the government to this? Madam Speaker, every citizen should be outraged by this. This was totally unnecessary. Our country should not have been subjected to this risk, Madam Speaker, with this high number of citizenships over prison.
So, Brother Alexander, that was our campaign against that prison project. For months.
I'm glad you played that, you know.
For months. Hold a minute. For months.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I have communicated with the Prime Minister and Dwyer and this particular matter about the status of that prison itself. And during that period, until I went and checked for myself, I would not have believed that while we campaign on that, this clip I just played, that is not from the campaign, you know, Brother Alexander. That is in Parliament while this Prime Minister is in office. And the background to this thing, while he's having that conversation in Parliament, there's people on the opposition benches that is aware that the majority of the passport or the files allegedly was signed off by the same Prime Minister that beating upon it. His colleagues sitting in the government side and in cabinet were aware of that situation, but they continue to mislead the country. So my question to you, he said that the citizens should be outraged. Are you outraged that a prison project that should have never been that grand in the first place? There was no need for that kind of prison in the first place, from what I see, unless they plan to bring prisoners in from some place to put in there. We could put the population of St. Kitts in there, right? There's no need for it. But I understand that the cost to build that prison is some 40 million. But the 175,000 per year, I understand, whatever the calculation is, over some $900 million. So look at the big gap between 40 million and 900 million. We campaign on these things, partner. I expect Prime Minister to go in there and put a stop on that prison and fix the problem, not to continue it on steroids. Sorry for the interruption. Go ahead.
No interruption at all. I think all evidence points to the fact that Dr. Drew sold out even before he went in, because he obviously went in on a mission to cover up, on a mission to continue more of the same. But I want to show that it's a vicious cycle, because it's a cycle we've been seeing. We have a Dr. Simmons, we have a Dr. Douglas, and now we have a Dr. Drew. But all of them are linked to this prison, because Dr. Drew is still in bed with the Chinese. Dr. Douglas is who brought them in here to us. Dr. Simmons is a doctor, and at no point at all we saw any advancement there. We saw where the focus was, on a road, on a Port Zante, on capitalist projects. So I'm not making personal jabs. I am just highlighting aspects of our history that have been repeating over and over. That despite these men and their parties tell us that we're so different, or we were focused on different agendas, the agenda has remained the same. Everybody but us. So again, like I've always said before, it's not just for DJ Maurice or Dr. Alexander, any other griot, or anybody who feels as passionate as we do, to continue repeating the same. It's for people to stand up, because it's the two extremes of what we call corruption. We like to think of corruption as only as white-collar crime, but the corruption is you knowing it's going on and you signing off. The corruption is you not standing up. The corruption is you feeling that you're not valuable, you're not worth anything if you've arrived at kidney failure, and you can be treated like the dirt because it's your fault that you arrived at that point. No, that's not how it works. Because again, the person that signed that letter was under the foot of Dr. Wilkinson. His social media pass, his social media evidence would show where he stood up and stand out. So the same how you have Dr. Drew crying, feeling passionately, and putting on a performance, because that's what the facts now tell us. That was a performance. I don't want to believe that Dr. Jensen Morton is performing. I don't want to believe that. Because I felt it for him when I read his letter. I felt it for him when I saw him on the foot of Dr. Wilkinson. Because I was in the district. They were at JNF, where everything revolved and evolved from Dr. Wilkinson. And again, if we didn't interrupt, this year Dr. Wilkinson would have been receiving some meritorious honor or being knighted. It would have happened again if we didn't stand up. So again, we can't see any improvements up at the dialysis unit, because again, it's not a matter that the dialysis unit, somebody attacked it, or there was a bomb, or there was some malicious intent at the dialysis unit. It was one of our premier medical units at the hospital. So we must ask ourselves, how did it arrive there? And I think you've shown the track record. So it's for them to prove otherwise. So if you have official letters coming in the dark of night, and letters speaking of a topic that is so dear and core to us and don't merit the intervention of the permanent secretary or the minister of health, who is a doctor, who him and I debated. We've been debating since we've been in we've been debating since high school about these things. So when we arrive at these moments and have these titles and positions, much more is expected. Much more is expected. Much more is expected.
I honestly do not know where the person that I met back in 21, 22 went. But the person I'm seeing today, Prime Minister Joe, I would like to know what's really going on. Because I'm going to show you another clip right now. We know what our constitution called for. We know it's a biased constitution. It seems to be one-sided. We know that one thing I understand that the Premier of Navies, Brother Simeon Daniel, the Sir Simeon Daniel, made sure that Navies had the rights to their land and to govern their affairs. So to see the Prime Minister Joe came and tabled a bill in the federal parliament about some SSZ, Special Economic Zone and Nevis. And now he's telling us to keep him out of it. I want you to hear this clip.
So Prime Minister, let me pivot a bit. Recently, the government passed the Special Sustainability Zones Authorization Act that has now raised some concerns, particularly on social media among folks, particularly about the sale of land to foreign investors. What's your response? I'm pretty sure you might have heard about some of these concerns that people have been raised online. What's your response to such concerns? And what mechanisms are in place to ensure ordinary Kittitians and divisions benefit from these zones?
Thank you very much. As you know, part of the strategies of many countries is to set up zones like these, like in Panama and even the US, Europe, and so forth, to enhance investment and economic advancement. So this is not anything strange, and it is not a different type of strategy. It is just that we are now moving into this as part of our overarching strategy to diversify. So let me put that forward. So this is part and parcel of what is being done in developed countries. I think countries like ours are now really catching on to the fact that these zones can really help to push economic development. If we want economic development, these are the type of things. Open up Africa, build ports, special zones for development and advancement. Some people call them industrial zones. What do you think industrial site was? It was a special zone. So if you built an industrial site, it was a special zone for industrial activity. Think about it. And therefore, this is not anything new to us here in St. Kitts in terms of...
But Alexander, I want to stop there. Did you listen to the bill that they passed in Parliament some weeks ago about the special zone?
I did.
You heard about the requirements and what they expect to have there in terms of their own borderline and their own customs and their own electrical supply and healthcare and all of that stuff.
Correct.
Okay. The Prime Minister is now trying to compare that zone to what we have over there at the Paul Southwell industrial site.
Here's the thing. I would exclude the sustainability and would say that the industrial site is a special economic zone, as explained in part by the bill. But here's the thing, it never, just like Christophe Harbour, just like Kittitian Hill, it never arrived at what it promised. Even the industrial site that we have there, that we've arrived at the thought of normalcy, that is just an industrial zone. It's not a true industrial zone. And even then, we had so little value in ourselves as a developing nation that we said to these persons, you go come in and pay $5 a year and lease this incredible amount of land and get all these facilities for free, because we were begging, we were hoping, we were wishing for people to come in and share with us their glory. We are no longer in that position. At least I feel so. I know you know so. And you've lived in developed nations. A nation could be the most developed nation on this earth, and it's still would pale in comparison to St. Kitts if you're a Kittitian. If you're a true Kittitian and understand what it is to live in a country that was sustainable. When Columbus came here, it was sustainable. So to feel in our minds and feel in ourselves that we are not worthy or we're not capable of bringing sustainability to ourselves. Because to this, I heard in the past 24 hours, I heard 5 politicians say that we need foreign direct investment to arrive at sustainability. That's essentially what they were saying. So even Prime Minister Drew, when he harkens back to the industrial site and uses that as a comparison, or when Brantley uses Four Seasons as a comparison, if you go back to these contracts, if you go back to the the papers and the press release around the time. None of these commitments, none of these contracts have arrived at what they promised. Four Seasons promised more than what it's giving now. So when we applaud for the little that they're giving, and all the money is going back out to a US bank account, and they're still getting all the duty-free concessions, they still have the clout where they could speak directly to the premier, speak directly to the prime minister, and everybody wants to host the event there. So they're owning to them. Nobody speaks of that because that is the fear. The AG spoke today, and he wants to dismiss that fear that when you have an enclave, even if it's a gated community, because St. Kitts has gated communities. Christopher Harbour was, still is. There's another one in the peninsula, there are two gated communities. These people move differently. When you're off that wealth, you move differently. I've been in those rooms. These people, I'm not to say that they're not human, but they don't have the same feelings as you because they have multiple passports, multiple jurisdictions, multi-billion-dollar and multi-million-dollar companies, and could just move where it's convenient to them. They don't have connections other than to their bank accounts. So when we speak of these people as if like they're everyday citizens because we sat on a yacht or they're speaking to us or we have direct calls to them, it's not the same. And it curls my stomach seeing our representatives, because that's what they are. Not just our leaders, they're representatives, they're the face. Because if the first interaction these so-called investors are having with them, these investors are coming, the first interaction is with these so-called leaders. So if they don't have us in mind, if they left St. Kitts or within themselves don't even value the everyday Kittitian and feels like the everyday Kittitian needs to work harder, and they should be grateful for what we're doing for them, because that's the tone. That's the tone you're constantly hearing from the NIA and from this administration. And just, it feels like months to me. But just the other day, Dr. Drew was pet son. Just the other day, everybody except maybe the AG was a humble citizen with debt and issues and lots of friends. And now everybody's just colluding and defending and repeating the same sound bites. And if you just sit back and take away the emotion, you would see it for what it is, but lots of people aren't or can't. So we really have to focus on the people who are feeling it and are willing to make this change, because to feel in your mind that you have to wait every 5 years to pick someone they picked for you, that is not power. That is not authority. That is not sovereignty. And the fact that people can't see that is why we celebrate independence tomorrow. Because what are we independent from? Britain? When we swear
we are not.
Oaths and allegiances.
We are
when
not
we
independent.
welcome the sailors off the ship tomorrow, and if they're not there, our parade means nothing or looks like nothing. When tomorrow is looked forward by the soldiers just to get drunk up at Government House, when Government House is one of the most manicured spaces in St. Kitts, and the poorhouse, the Carding Home, which some of us don't even know if we will arrive, because I've worked there. Dr. Drew has worked there. In fact, Dr. Drew was assigned to prisons and the Carding Home. So apart from coming from the humble womb of Pet, apart from growing up as a Rasta baby, he circulated through those humble, hallowed halls, saw the worst of the worst and the dejected. And now he's in the seat of power. Has forgotten them. Well, he has forgotten me and us. Because when I speak for all the Cuban graduates. And that group from 1998. That group from 1998, because we know and he know. We know and he know. So I've come to terms that the issue was not Dr. Drew, Mr. Mauricio. Well, I've self-diagnosed. The issue was me and my inability to see past the mask. That was a mask. And like I tell you, I've gone back and investigated myself and him and all my colleagues that surrounded him. And he was diagnosed long time. So I was the one failing, and I'm no longer going to fail. So who wants to fail already are showing and telling me. Because the persons who benefit from the disruption, like, again, there's a cemetery that's going to benefit. There's a undertaker that's going to benefit. Everybody benefits somebody in this world. So there are persons, even though they're crying out, are applauding what's happening. There are pharmacies that benefit when Jennifer is out. There are doctors that benefit when Jennifer is out. When Jennifer falls below the standard, when government falls below the standard, private takes up the slack. But it's not taking up the slack, it's taking up the cash. So we live in a society where a government falls down, they just blamed, and private benefits because the service is needed. So in the end, we might be crying, but the persons that benefit, and those persons that benefit never want to see it better. So they will never contribute ideas, they will never volunteer, they will never donate. And that is what I experience as a medical worker, that you're in the middle at times, especially as a doctor, you're in the middle and you're wondering, how is it that this is so important? Everybody knows it's important, but can't seem to, because government don't prioritize it and private doesn't prioritize it. Because somebody's benefiting, some business is benefiting. I've given the example before that you would never need a DHL or a FedEx if the post office was functioning. They have all the infrastructure, they own the port, they're part of government, they have all the subsidies. Nobody could move a package cheaper. Why do we have all these other entities? For the failures of government. So government colludes with private. It happens in politics. Who do you think funds the elections? So there's a collusion, so it's for us to understand our power. It doesn't wait for election. There's a party at which is supposed to administer to this administration. If you can't, as a Labour, decide, I don't like how I'm living, I'm going back to my representative line, and no, me like this, or him, me like this, and make that change could happen tomorrow, today. It doesn't need boots on the ground and showing us strength. Your strength is you standing up. And if you're in National Bank, and you're a part of the collusion, and you're a part of the criminality, and a part of the white-collar crime, you're no different from the politicians. So I've seen persons on Facebook going hard at the politicians, and I know they're a part of it. Yeah. So we have to stop the acting.
The situation is, I will not accept the current SSC that is being created or passed in Parliament as the same as the Paul Southwell.
No, but it's not. No, it's not.
We are not zoned out at the Paul Southwell. We are zoned out in this bill. And I'm going to continue this clip because, like I started off saying at the top, the Prime Minister in this clip is saying keep him out of the land business and navies. He's the one that bring it into Parliament. So if you want to get out of navies business, then repeal the law.
Who draft this bill? Because that's the other issue, you know. If everybody's stepping away from the bill, who draft this bill?
Well, I don't have
act, because it's completed. It's gone from a bill now to act. It's no longer a bill.
I don't have the time to play all of this clip this evening because I'm not going to go past the 2 hours that I do on a weekly basis. But if I were to play every clip from the time this thing started, we will go back from the town hall meeting with the Premier and his people and Navy sometime in July, when this lady, with the young lady asking the Premier some questions, and the Premier denied anything that she's talking about.
The lady. Yes. Go read the Bible.
Correct, with the rumors, whatever.
Wow.
Then some weeks later, this bill ended up in Parliament, presented by the Prime Minister, which was supported by the Premier and his team. I realize now by playing that clip I played last night by Timothy is that apparently Timothy and Sean may not have showed up to Parliament in order for them not to get a quorum. But those guys and navies came down to ensure that there was a quorum. So I understand that. I got that now. Now, fast forward. There's a gentleman that called into Van Radio some weeks ago and questioned the Premier. about the same special zone on Nevis. And the Premier had all kind of denial. But from 1 minute, he denied any of his family, his wife and whatever having land in that area, to him coming back on Van Radio and acknowledging that when he got home, his wife told him that he got families, that brothers or whatever, that have land in that area. Followed by, he made an appearance. Well, let's back up. The AG made an appearance on Freedom FM, and a gentleman called in and asked the AG about whether or not Mark Brantley, the Premier, or the NIA, or anyone in Nevis had any input in the draft bill. And basically, after the AG ran around the entire island, he came back and said, no. But then a caller came in and put the Premier on the spot, and the Premier gave some story in regards to that position. But the clearer part of the answers from the Premier, I got to give credit to Brother Bankin, I think, Yoshan, whatever the guy name is. I'm not sure of his partner's name, and Everything Agriculture. That is the first time that Premier Brantley acknowledged that the NIA, through their legal team, actually saw the draft bill and gave an input in it. But who are we to believe? Because
Sight. He said
that side of it. So what's the difference between sight and saw? These words that they're playing with, right?
Semantics.
Now, according to the AG and Freedom last week, the only input that anyone from the NIA may have had on this bill is during Parliament, during the debate. But then the Premier is acknowledging that his team had sight of the bill prior to it going into Parliament.
And then he said he did not draft nor craft, because Banky used both verbs, and he said he neither drafted nor crafted. His team, because the same as the AG, both of them are relying on a team, because the AG said his team of drafters, and the Premier, because I'm making note of all these guys, because they keep putting their foot in their mouth and stepping on the tongues. Yeah, so
but Alexander, our AG are telling the DJ that his team of drafters will draft a bill and he take it to Parliament to present it without going over it. That's what our AG is telling the DJ.
Everybody's avoiding it like a big pool of shit. Yeah, everybody's avoiding it. No, after we have 3 people come down from Nevis, very unusual, like to wash down there. And then these 3 people and everybody highlighting this great bill, but didn't look over it.
But you know what?
I want to know what is the big deal about it, and why people are making so much political machinations. These are the things that the AG is saying as a legal mind. So you are coming and elucidating. Nobody's elucidating. Everybody's just wondering. They don't know what the big deal is about and why we're focusing and hyper-focusing on public figures. Public figures don't need hyper-focusing. They're public figures.
But their lies is catching up on them, and they're wallowing in their own lies. Because if you look at the timelines and what all of them are saying, the Premier also came back and told the people in Nevis that he don't understand why they accusing him of giving his wife lands and opportunity, because this gentleman, his wife knew him, knew them before him. Apparently he get to know them through his wife. So when you look at all of these timeline, Sister Lawrence was on top of something when she got the news or the rumor that apparently was brewing for months, if not years. And they continue to spin and lie, and they get caught in their own lies. Because now, if you listen to the presentation of the Prime Minister in Parliament, he said that this bill has been prepared for so many months that they even presented it to the United Nations. So let's continue listening because we don't have much time left. So let's listen to this clip.
Having designated areas that deal with a specific type of economic activity for the overall economic development and advancement. Now, in looking at that with respect to navies, I think it is chapter 10, if we go to our constitution, where I think might be 10, where it talks about what the federal government is responsible for and what the Nevis Island administration is responsible for. The Nevis Island administration is responsible for its resources. And therefore, I am not even going to comment on what Nevis should or shouldn't do with its lands. If you read the Constitution clearly, what we have is a federal system with a Nevis Island administration. And part of what the Nevis Island administration is supposed to do is to manage its own resources. The Constitution does not give me the right to manage the resources on Nevis. I don't know if people recognize that. Sometimes I see people trying to pull me in. You can't pull me into Nevis affairs. If Nevis decide to sell the land here, what does that have to do with me? That is the Nevis Island admin, and it was specifically set up for that. In 1980, when the election was had, Labour Party won the most seat in St. Kitts. Ham Party wanted to form the government, and so they made a pact with the NRP of Nevis, led by that time by His Excellency National Hero, Sir Simeon Daniel. They came up with this constitution that excluded St. Kitts. The constitution recognized two entities, St. Kitts Nevis and Nevis. St. Kitts is not recognized in the constitution. Let me tell you how serious this is. Let's say someone from Nevis were to become prime minister. They can determine how we manage our land in St. Kitts. But if I am the prime minister, I cannot determine how Nevis manages its land. It's a serious constitutional matter, you know. So I say all the time, why are you including me in this? I can't be involved in this. This has nothing to do with me. The constitution is clear. Nevis manages its lands. St. Kitts Nevis federal government manages the land of St. Kitts. The constitution allows the fact that if a Nevisian becomes prime minister, they can control the land of both Nevis and St. Kitts, but a Kittitian who becomes prime minister cannot control ever the land in Nevis based on the constitution. But you're aware of that? I mean, I'm saying it now, I'm just internalizing it now. Do you know what the serious implication of that is? Therefore, I am simply saying that I have nothing to do with the land in Nevis. The Constitution tells me clearly, Prime Minister, the lands in Nevis are to be administered by the Nevis Island Administration. So I keep out of that. So I hope that the discussion on Nevis and they can resolve their matter.
So when did he figure that part out there, but Alexander, when did the Prime Minister figure out that the land in Nevis is supposed to be taken care of by the Nevisian? Because I'm going to play this clip. I'm not going to play the full clip, but I want you to hear the Prime Minister in Parliament presenting this bill. And that is when he should have stayed out of it.
Madam Speaker, with your leave, I rise to lead the debate of and have read for a second time in this Honorable House the bill shortly entitled the Special Sustainability Zone Authorization Bill 2025. Madam Speaker, this bill gives our country a practical tool to attract foreign direct investment and create long-term job opportunities while protecting our environment. It is a framework for doing big projects the right way. Madam Speaker, St. Kitts and Nevis has set a clear direction through our Sustainable Island State Agenda, SISA for short. SISA, the Sustainable Island State Agenda, is our plan to make life better and safer for our people here in St. Kitts and Nevis in this changing world. Of course, this addresses multiple issues at the same time. This was developed, of course, after long months of consultation and bringing experts in the field to have collaboration which has led us to this strategy, this overall national strategy. This was presented for the first time to the United Nations as a demonstration to the world of how serious St. Kitts and Nevis is with respect to sustainable development.
So, Brother Alexander, who is lying to who? Your mic is closed.
He mentioned environment. Like we say environment, but it really is environment. And when people hear that, they tend to think that it just means our sea, our land, which even if it's on that level, again, they're failing in their fiduciary duties as leaders because they're not protecting that. But the environment also means job security. And when I say job security, I don't mean just the persons in the civil service. It means that if you've been making a living for the past 5, 10, 15 years on a beach, that should be looking into, because you won't committing a crime. You were sustaining yourself without the need for social services. So that should be looked at first. So when I hear me AG saying, like making a comparative, that who do you rather have? No, I'd rather to know a Kittitian is thriving, because I've seen where business have become globally known from just a Rasta man on the beach, a Rasta vibe on the beach. I've seen where that is the hallmark of Nevis. With all the 4 seasons now over there, there's nothing more popular than Sunshine, nothing even more popular than his Killer Bee. So again, that was not invented in a tourism department. That was not invented in New York by a host of graphic designers paid for by the government. That was the idea and the practicality within a man from St. Paul's.
Right across the road from me.
Sorry?
Right across the road from me.
So when we talk about environment, I want us to understand how powerful that is and how transdimensional that is. But I want to go to his favorite phrase, sustainable island state agenda. This was not invented by Dr. Joe. You could tell because he's not living by it. This was created in a very brilliant mind out of Kayan, from a very brilliant family. That has nothing to do with Dr. Joe. The fact that he can't sustain it, the fact that he can't live up to it, should tell you that he's not his idea. He wants it to be his legacy. That's why even when he rejects the draft of it, he still holds on to it. Dr. Joe, in some regards, I have to forgive him, because there's certain party stalwarts that even if Dr. Joe wanted to go off on a tangent or to rebuke all the ethos and mythos of Bradshaw and the Labour Party, that certain party stalwarts in there, I think, should have stopped that. Contender might be a bit too compromised, so I just want people to go and listen to that song that you played in the beginning. That alone is an indictment on everything that's going on here, across all party lines, across all class and creed. That, because he can prove to us that what's been happening since 80 is still happening now. It's going to prove to us that it's blatantly plain to us. So it's not a matter of crime, you know. It's a matter of allowance, what we've grown accustomed to. Because that's why we keep electing thieves. Because we're quite okay with thieves. We're quite okay with making the money, even if it ain't ours. As Kittitians, we're quite okay with it. That is why we're normalizing what's happening to us. Because that's trauma.
I got a track here I want to drop for you. This one.
Hold on. That's one other person.
Okay.
Edinburgh has been there from since the 70s. He's somebody that, like, yeah, when it comes to the labor movement and what it stands for, I used to look at. And I was impressed by him. He made me even dive deeper into the history of the Labour Party. And I know he knows, because him and I have debated about the recurrent issues and the repeat. Because him and I are very good at pattern recognition. And I know he must be feeling out of the sort. But this is a testament to his legacy. If he is going to allow this, because he stood against all other odds before. So if he can't stand against Drew and put him on the straight and narrow as he did with Harris, as he did with Douglas, then 9 Edinburgh right now. So I may not call out a name. I want to speak to that person personally.
Well, I can say this to you where the Labour Party is concerned. The Labour Party is defunct at the moment. They're having all these issues that they're having because the Labour Party is defunct. When the election came around in 22, remember there was just a leadership campaign and election that took place. So the Labour Party did not really had an opportunity to put a team together.
Or to recover from that trauma, that infighting that was happening.
Right, it's still happening. So basically all of those executive members that was a part of the Labour Party basically went straight into government, inexperience, making a lot of mistakes up until today. And as a result, the country is paying the cost. The federation is paying the cost. Every one of them. And it appears as though someone like Douglas, who is a senior minister, it appears that he sit in the back and say, well, you say, I don't need me, so you, wala you, whatever, let me hang out in Dubai. Let me hang out in Japan. So Douglas had really taken on the country. I understand Douglas came in to get a school in Sadler's, rename off him, and by the next day he was on a plane out the country. Right now is Independence Week. I'm here in number 6 in my constituency. They came over here on the 16th and they had this session over there in the park there where they have Bratch's statue. That is all that happened in this constituency. There is no development in the community, no infrastructure to help out the poor little boys and girls on the street.
What are the people saying? Because I know the St. Paulans to be one of the most...
Well, they're just relaxing, quiet as a lamb.
Because this reminds me, I always used to liken what's going on in St. Kitts to Animal Farm, and that book reported it. But it's more likening to The Emperor's New Clothes. But it's at the point and in the story where the little boy cries, and all of us are the little boys crying, and even though we say, the emperor has on no clothes, he realized, and then they just continue the pageantry, and the crowd just continues to applaud. That is exactly what's happening here, you know, that these people know that this is the end of the end, but they're just carrying on the pageantry. And it's up to us to decide or define how long this pageantry, because as long as this pageantry goes on, there are going to be more deaths. There are going to be more issues. There are going to be more failures. Because we don't have leadership at the helm, and we don't have people who can say no. We have persons who are mastered and who are slaves mentally.
The issue we got here in St. Kitts Nevis is this. The bad actors, the incompetent politicians that we elected, they do their nonsense with the hopes that nobody will catch on what they're doing to the country and to the citizens. They're taking care of themselves, family and friends. And then the one or two of us that see the wrong and decide to speak on it, they get upset with us. We are traitors. What we want. And they start the fake campaign on us to say, oh, well, he ain't get this, he ain't get that. But at the end of the day, and I would hope that it's not too late, the people will see for themselves. I hope it's not too late. But like I said, I'm going to drop this track and give us a chance that you can do your closing, because I am not going to stay here too long tonight. This is the second program for the week. And in as much as I want to bring the information to the people, I also have to take care of myself and make sure that I'm healthy and ready for that match next Friday. So stand by for Bro Modada.
The name of the song, Good Government. The name of the singer, Brother Mudada. Put your hands together for Brother Mudada.
Such applies to this government, I think they are excellent. They put in things in place. Who is me? Go tell them about race. If you want that kind of calypso, check a loads of crow. If big time media, millionaire and all getting pressure for me, I footy go sing on them and create my own problem, not me. This government good. Wait, this government nice. Twice, this government make it known. They're taking care of their own. This government good. Good, this government nice. Twice, this government they want no help. They've been very good for themselves. Good government. Boy, let's go. Hey. Boy, mama, let's go. Boy, hey. If you can't say good, don't say bad. My grandfather used to say, and the way this country now moving, say good or don't say a thing. Like look how good they fix the law for the police commissioner. Even though he got more good people than all that we put together. And look how good they fix the green paper. Them is real good liar. Legally a damn good attack like the old Public Order Act. Lord, this government good. Wait, this government nice. Twice, this government make it known. They're taking care of their own. This government good. Good, this government nice. Twice, this government they want the help. They're very good for themselves. Yes, good government. Boy, hey, hey, whatever land, Baba Dela. Good, my son, and good will follow you. Nanny used to tell me, and I respect the old saying, a good thing is a damn good thing. More money for the pensioner, on top of that he gain free hamper. Reminds me of an old philosophy, a calf for a heifer. By the very good they playing the ball, all for one and one, stand for all. They're so good they make we learn. For your own you must show concern. This government good. Wait, this government nice. Twice, this government make it known. They're taking care of their own, mama. This government good. Good, this government nice. Twice, this government they want the help. They're very good for themselves. Have a good one. Have a good one. Hey, Mudada. Hey. Hey. They only looking sober, they had a good sense. They know what they're doing. Because when you look at this government, you see folks of intelligence. Look, as they win, they reshuffle. Look how quick they fit in new people. Even though it may hurt, so all them CEO had to go. And look how good they fix their salary, $1,000 tax-free. The first government I know, we're serving its people so, mama, this government good. Good. This government nice. Hey, Mudada. One more time. You're good for yourself, right? Boy, mama. Hey. Hey. Good thing not cheap, cheap thing not good. An old Chinese saying, and I respect the old saying, a good thing is a damn good thing. Look how good they fit Big and Smith on the European cruise ship. Recently, whole captaincy on the MV URP. And look how good they treat Povona Graves. Demotion for days. Although they say then demotion, Wade Mark say they just help her down. This government good. Good. This government nice. Twice. This government make it known. They're taking care of their own. This government good. Good. This government nice. Twice. This government I want to help. They're very good for themselves. I know you're going to say it. I know that. Have a good one. Have a good one.
Yes, that's the man, Bo Modada. But Alexander, I'm going to drop some clips here and give you a chance to do your closing, and we'll be out of here. Let me take a run across to the Sister Island Nevis there and hear what my brother there, Brother Carbo, has to tell us this evening.
Cabos, located at Fountain Village in Nevis, is the go-to spot for your Saturday treats. Tantalize your taste buds with his delectable Cabos Delicacy Goat Water. Or, if you prefer some soul food, then Cabos Fungi and Fish is definitely the way to go. Call ahead and reserve at 869-663-9694. Then make your way over to Cabos and enjoy the vibrant atmosphere while you savor your delicacy. Cabos, we are not changing, we are only improving.
Food all over, food all over. You got the food all over.
Yes, Brother Carbo has the food all over Nevis, and he also does his delivery down to St. Kitts, my good people. So just reach out to Brother Carbo and let him know that DJ Marisha sent you. Now let's take a listen to what Sister Carmen of Carmen Caterers have to tell us this evening.
Girl, Sandra, you know where you can find nice, fresh local food 7 days a week, one provision and all kind of thing. Girl, where? Right down there by Shellings, by Carmen Catering Services. Girl, she opposite the bus stop. Girl, and she also cater for weddings, parties, anything you want to cater for, funeral and all. Girl, and trust me, you're gonna enjoy the food. And she also selling bites and Sundays. Opposite the car shop, right down the main road. Girl, you could call 665-1494 or 663-6005 to order your food or go and pick up your food. Girl, the food will be finger licking and you get your money worth. You ain't want nothing better than that.
That's for sure. Sister Carmen is there every Sunday, but tomorrow, Independence Day, she'll be in Boys as well. So let's take a quick listen to Sister Carmen.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? Carmen Catering Service will be having independent lunch at Boyd's Village. So come on out to get your nice little independent lunch. We also will be giving away cake and free drink along with your food. So see you there. It's right on the main road opposite Tagawo shop. Happy Independence when it comes.
Yes, like Carmen says, she'll be right there tomorrow evening. And New Era Catering Services also have some events this week. This is a 3-day extravaganza. Tickets available for lunching. Well, Thursday is done. Today is Thursday. They had some lunching today. Their grilled shrimp, kebabs, garlic butter, lobster, sweet barbecue rib, creamy shade lemon, baked chicken served with rice and peas, cheesy scallops, potato steam, vegetable, corn, greens, free drink and everything. That was $35. That was earlier today. But tomorrow, Friday, they're going to be having seafood lasagna served with plantain, corn, and the cob and those other stuff. That is at the cost of $25. Beef lasagna, $20. And Saturday breakfast brunch, stew saltfish, boiled egg, Xmas ham, party wings, pig in a blanket, pumpkin, and banana fritters. bake food, drink hot tea. It's pick up delivery is $5. So you can contact that individual at 869-762 6425. That 869-762 6425. Sorry. My good people, I also want to big up my folks there at Island Purified Water, the good water people. The man, Brother Powell and his crew there, I want to thank them for keeping the DJ hydrated when he's in our beloved federation. Also want to touch my boy there, Brother Paris Pharmacy, for taking care of the folks. Also want to big up my boy there, Brother Tango, down there, Westbourne got the tire shop there, taking care of the citizens in the federation. Also want to big up my cousin there, Sister Glory at Smart Fit, there next to Skelec, Smart Fit Clothing. Let me big up my boy here, Brother Asker.
3A's Auto Services is your one-stop auto care shop. Are you looking for reliable auto care you can trust? At 3A's Auto Services, we keep you rolling safely and smoothly. Tire sales and installation. Quality tires for every vehicle expertly fitted. Vehicle repairs and maintenance. From small fixes to major repairs, our skilled team gets the job done right the first time. Friendly, professional service, honest advice, fair pricing, and a commitment to keeping you on the road. Don't let car trouble slow you down. Drive in today and experience the 3A's difference. Visit us at Main Street, Sandy Point, St. Kitts, or call us at 869-664-2204, 869-667-2071, or 869-665-0605. 3A's Auto Services, where your car gets the care it deserves.
Yes, that's the man there, the man, Brother Aston Coker, Main Street, Sandy Point, St. Kitts. Just let him know that DJ Marisha sent you. Yeah, let's take a quick run across to St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, and touch my boy there, Brother Malvern Combs of the Spectrum Band, and hear what Brother Malvern Combs have to say about the DJ. I have not spoken to Malvern in a bit, so let's take a quick listen to what Brother Malvern Combs have to say about the DJ.
Hey, this is Malvern from Spectrum Band, and you're listening to DJ Marisha, playing you the best in Caribbean music.
You got that.
Hey, this is Malvern from Spectrum Band, and you're locked into DJ Marisha. Keep it locked.
Right there. You don't move that dial as we take a listen to our ad here for the match next Friday, the 26th of September.
Let's unite and stand up for right.
It's the Citizens Empowerment Coalition Awareness March on Friday, 26 September. Citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis, it's your time. Boots on the streets are required. Let's save our country. Get your placards ready. Gathering at the West Bus and Ferry Terminal on the Bay Road from 2:30 with the march starting from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. For more information, call 660-0195. So, get ready to hit the streets on Friday, 26 September from 2:30 at the West Bus and Ferry Terminal and be a part of the Citizens Empowerment Coalition Awareness March.
Yeah, Brother Alexander, you're closing.
Yeah. Again, I can think if it's not the universe, then you're willful, skillful. The name of the calypso and I used for the last calypso was my dad. And there was a well-known labor stalwart. And I'm gonna tell the public how close he is to me. He was a very close friend to my stepdad, the father of my youngest brother, Aaron Alexander. So much so that I had sons born around the same time and were 2 peas in a pod all the time growing up. And I would always, as a young man, love to hear the debates between David Junior Adams and Modado. Those are debates that strengthen me not only in the Labour Party, but in the Labour Union and what it means and represents to be a man. Because I saw those men being men. Yeah. And I'm going to go down to the bottom of the letter that was circulated. I assume it's the motto of the Ministry of Health. It says, people first, quality always. And they might sound lofty, but they're not. Because if you put people first, each one of us could put people first. And you know the reason why I know that's not lofty, because I've worked at the JNF. I actually loved working there. And one of my favorite rotation, even though it was cut short, was in the emergency department. Because it was there that I really grew true respect for nurses, because I saw the worst of nurses there, and I also saw the best of nurses. But the worst didn't really impact me. The best of nurses did. Because I had a nurse there, and I want to call out today. Other nurses did it, but she did it more often. Sister Williams. And I would hand, because you would always say this, we're just supporting cast. The nurses are the ones that term the supporting cast, but the doctors are the supporting cast. Because again, you come in, you diagnose, brilliant or otherwise, and all the work is left for the nurses, especially in the A&E department. And she would always nudge me in such a way, because she could realize I had a big chip on my shoulder and an ego, and she would just massage it and let me know I make a little mistake, I needed to review something, and I love her for that, because that not only allowed me to improve, it taught me empathy. That I don't always have to go hard. Sometimes I could go to software, because I know it felt as a young man receiving that kind of judgment, that kind of correction from a woman. In a station that most times people tell you, like the doctor is higher than the nurse and she shouldn't talk to you that, or she can't tell you that. So she humbled me down to the point and then allowed me, and it's the most mothering I ever received as a professional, because after that, that made me a man and I didn't need that mothering. But I think every doctor needs that. So I want to call her out. And many other nurses did that to me, throughout my career. But I want to go back to these public officials, because I learned something in therapy that says you only could hold yourself accountable. Like I could only hold Garfield accountable because I only have authority over me, sovereignty over me. So we got to stop trying to hold other people accountable. They have to hold themselves accountable. But what we can do is realize when they're breaching their fiduciary duty, because they swore by that. That's like your job description. If you hire a man and he's not carrying out none of the job descriptions that he promised and that you're paying him for, you can keep him? So breach, negligence, and those two together are not considered a crime. So what Dr. Drew, the PSs, many of them, all the ministers of cabinet, they are breaching their fiduciary duty and responsibilities. They're guilty of negligence and they're guilty of a crime. So it's for you, the people out there, everybody that's listening, to understand that. Because that letter should not have been penned by Dr. Jensen Morton. And even if it was penned by him, given his history and what he went through, he should have empathized to not allow it to happen in the first place, because all this is avoidable. Because if it didn't happen before, it's avoidable. And if something did happen that was out of the blue and astronomical, it can publicly be said so that people truly understand. Oh, wow, okay, I could understand, because life's at stake. And even if lives aren't lost, people are never the same after they lose 2 turns at that. We know this. We know this. We're talking about your kidneys, your 2 kidneys. If they're not functioning, you need dialysis. It's a need. It's almost like breathing. So you have the PM, the Minister of Health, the PS, and I mentioned the CMO. It's within the duties. And if you don't believe me, AI is on all our computers and our phones.
Just put in there what are the fiduciary duties, what are the responsibilities of your Minister of Health, of your PM, of your PS, of your CMO, and just see if these people are doing what they're being paid for. Just to see if these people are doing what is needed to make this government function in an efficient way. Because we can't just be surviving. We survived all them times on the Bachelor. That's why it was survival. He himself said it in all his speeches post 75. We are now thriving. We are in control. I mean, that we are an authority. We are approaching sovereignty. If he had that stance at that point in 70 something, with all, because all the politicians will tell you how far we've come. At celebrating 42, we don't have men and women in St. Kitts who believe they're deserving of a good JNF. I'm going to repeat, I'm going to close with Asher. I like that. Me like that. Me like that for Ayo and me like that for me.
Yes, brother Alexander, it was really good chatting with you, and wish you a safe travels back to the Federation. We know we have a lot of work to do. Look forward to the collaboration and getting things going. My good people, the conversation this evening was about the dialysis unit at the JNF. What happened should have never happened, and the lies that came in that letter trying to cover up what really happened. There were agents that was not available for days for the folks to be treated. We should not have been lied to like this. And somebody need to really pay the price for this kind of situation. So we're going to continue to hold the foot to the fire and continue with the investigation. Lots to talk about when we come back next week. As I said, we could never discuss every issue in 2 hours, but I do my best to come to you, the people, and present to you what I can.